Can we just address what's happening through the window behind me? It's not a white backdrop, I promise. It's literally just so foggy. What you see through the camera is what it looks like through the window. Sometimes I'm surprised I make it to a destination without getting lost and like wandering off into the fog, never to be seen again. But besides that, so on to the point of the actual video. Keeper of the Lost Cities, the novella, book 8.5, and what went wrong. Honestly, I read the novella, and I'm specifying the novella because we'll get there in a second. I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. It was really fast-paced. One of my favorite things is that it's the first book in the series that's told in alternating perspectives between Keith and Sophie. And it was like I would finish the chapter on Sophie's perspective and I would be disappointed. I'd be like, oh, that was a major cliffhanger. I just want to keep reading. And then by the time I got to the end of Keith's perspective, I had the same feeling about Keith's perspective where I wanted to keep reading Keith's perspective, and I was disappointed to see Sophie's. The cliffhangers at the end of every chapter were so good. I read it so fast. I think like 3 hours. It was like 250 pages long. Gorgeous. Yeah. It was just really fast-paced and amazing. Like all the books in the series, which is why I've managed to read like 8 books this size, if not bigger. It's got some art in it, which is gorgeous, by the way. It's... oh my god. A lot of people, though, were disappointed by this novella. You might have mentioned, well, you might have noticed that I said the novella was 250 pages long. This section, right here, the little one at the end, is the novella, and all of this is basically, to put it frankly, like a wiki fandom page printed into a book. It's basically like summaries of what happened in previous books. There's some drawings, a lot of lists and like charts about the world. Every once in a while, maybe every like 20 or 30 pages, there will be like a new one sentence of information like thrown in. Long story short, if you were to read the first like 500 pages of this book like a book, you would be so bored. I didn't. A lot of people did, which surprises me, and they were not happy. This book was marketed as a novella. I thought it was a novella, and I follow Shannon Messenger everywhere, and I read everything. And then you saw on Goodreads, and some people looked and they saw when the page count came out on Goodreads that this book was like 750 pages long, and so they thought, and you can read the reviews, that it was going to be a 750-page novella. And so then they were disappointed when you open the book and it's not really much of substance. A lot of people feel that they were duped and like content was taken away from them in a sense. Almost like it was false advertising, that you thought you were getting this and then in reality you're getting that and some art. It is several days later and I just wanted to clarify something because as I'm editing it, it's not coming across as I wanted it to. Basically, what I'm trying to say, but I'm not succeeding, is I don't think that the marketing team for Unlocked actually wanted to do false advertising, because that never works. I think they just undermarketed it. Undermarketed the series guide aspect of this like novella combo, and that caused reviewers and readers to get this feeling of disappointment and false advertising. Not intentional false advertising, long story short. So, a lot of people were unhappy about that, which is, because I'm going to be honest, this book, considering you had to have read 8 books before, in a series of books that are all at least this big, it had really low reviews. I'm a business major. I know. I don't understand why they didn't separate the series guide from this novella. You would have made more money selling 2 books versus just 1. I don't know. Like, there's series extras. Like, let's be real. The people buying the novella are the same people that are going to buy the series guide. Because I only buy the novellas of series that I'm, like, really into. So those are the series where I would also buy a series guide. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like, I skip the novellas. Which, we're going to talk about that later. And whether or not this even should be a novella. But people were unhappy. Because on Good, it was marketed as a novella. It has a 4.37. It is, though, by, like, 0.2, the lowest rated book in the series. Which is a little bit odd. Even the first one, I think, has like a 4.55 or something like that. And that's the first one. You had to have read and enjoyed 8 books after that first one to get to this one. And this one is rated lower. I don't know if you've noticed this on Goodreads. We're going off on a small tangent. As you get farther in the series, the books, the rating should generally go up, because the people who, after the first one and the second one, I'll give it that. But as you get farther in the series, the rating should be really high after the first or second book, because who's gonna read like book 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that didn't enjoy the first 2? And so your audience of people rating the book is predisposed to be people who enjoy the concept in the series and the author's writing style and the characters. They're the ratings of people who like the books. Like, they're not going to be bad. So for this one to be the lowest rated, even below the ones that just has an actual test group of just everyone reading it, is not good.
Something I just thought of now, but it's also a novella. So not only is it people who like the series enough to read 8 massive books, it's also an even more biased test group, because it's people who liked the series enough to read 8 massive books and buy and read the like series extra book. It's you get the point.
It's the lowest rated in the series, which is it's weird. The ninth book, I guess, if we're saying 8.5, should not be the lowest rated. I'm just saying, like, it's, people aren't liking this one. The other thing, continue on the fact that, yeah, I skip novellas and series I don't care about, or series that I'm not as invested in. In my mind, a novella is a definition, it's like, if this is your main plot, a novella is like a tiny little offshoot that's not really relevant to the rest of the plot. It's like extra content. It's a short little story involving the characters. You don't need to read it to still understand this main plot line that I'm drawing here. You can skip it and you'll just miss extra content, but you won't be confused. This book is not bad. The end of book 8 had like a really big cliffhanger. And this book just picks up where that left off. I do not see any way, without basically rewriting this book into book 9, for the reader to be able to know what's going on without reading this novella. Which is weird, because that's not a novella if you have to read it to understand the main plot line. Or at least that's me. I mean, I skip novellas. I generally do not like them. This one I enjoyed because it's not a novella. Like, it's the main plot line. A lot happened. I don't like novellas because usually nothing happens in them, because they're a side shoe. Like, this one, a lot happens, which is, it's a novella, so nothing should happen. So it was just the marketing of this book. It was strange, because it was, people were unhappy because they felt like they'd been duped, because they thought, I guess, it was going to be a 750-page novella, and then it turns out 500 pages of it is filler content. I think people will be unhappy that skipped the novella when book 9 comes out, because they're going to be super confused as to what's going on. Long story short, I don't think this book, as it is, should exist. I think the novella should have been just added on to book 9, and I think this series guide should have been published separately, so that the people who are getting it actually wanted it and not getting it in lieu of something else, at least in their minds. But anyway, looking forward to book 9. You should read the novella, because you'll be super confused otherwise. But yeah, that's the end. Bye.